how to raise your self-esteem and overcome self-doubt. If you have ever doubted yourself, or if you've ever felt like your self-esteem needs a boost, then this video is for you, because I have been there and I'd love for us to learn and grow together. So without wasting any time, let's dive right in. So we are going to start with how to raise your self-esteem. Right. So in order for you to start raising your self-esteem, you need to stop outsourcing your worth. You need to understand that you are worthy, and you need to understand that you are not going to feel more worthy just because someone else has told you that you are worthy. You need to believe it within yourself. You need to not allow people and material things to define your worth. You need to understand that you are worthy just as you are. For me, I used to really struggle with seeking outside validation. But what happens when you do that is you are outsourcing your happiness as well. Because as long as you appease those people that you want to appease, you will be happy. And as soon as they take away that worth that they've given you, then you will crush and you'll fall down. So do not allow anyone to define you. Tell yourself that you are worth it. Remind yourself that you are worth it. Remind yourself that you were created by God, and that God has a plan and a purpose for your life, and that you are worthy. Have you seen how it is easy? Have you seen how easy it is for us to see kids as worthy? When something bad happens to a kid, we always feel like, oh my God, that kid is too young. They did not deserve that. They are so innocent. But when it comes to us, we tend to feel like we deserve that pain. We tend to believe that, we're just old, you're going to get over it. But you need to remind yourself every now and then that you are worthy. You can do this by affirmations, and just remind yourself over and over that you are worthy. And at first, if you're not used to knowing that you are worthy, you might not believe it, but you must keep on affirming to yourself that you are worthy, because you are worthy. And also just listen to people that will just reaffirm that you are worthy, not people who are going to make you feel like you have to work extra hard to be loved or taken care of. And realize that you have always been loved. You have always been taken care of. You have always been worthy, and you will always be worthy. It does not matter how many mistakes you've made, you're still perfect in God's eyes. Point number 2 is you need to reparent yourself. I love this one so much. I only started reparenting myself recently, and there's a movie, I just forgot the name of the movie, by J-Lo. I think the movie is Love Yourself. I don't know. But in this movie, J-Lo is the steering, right? And I think she got married 5 times. She would marry this guy, and then it wouldn't work out. And then she would break off with the marriage, and then she would marry another guy, until she got to a point where she found love within herself. And there's a part that I really love in that movie where she saw her 14-year-old self, and her 14-year-old self was so angry. She was screaming at her, saying that you have always ignored me. So reparenting yourself is looking yourself in the mirror, or asking yourself, what do I need in this moment? Sometimes when you get rejected, it's not about what is happening right now, but it is about how we were rejected in the past. So every time you feel like someone is rejecting you, tell yourself that even if this person rejects me, I am not going to reject myself. Remind yourself that you are worthy. Remind yourself that it is okay to be playful. Remind yourself that you are still a baby to God. So allow yourself to be young. Allow yourself to rely on God. Allow yourself to just be a kid and be playful. And when you have kids, this is even nicer, because you play with your kids, and as you're playing with your kids, you're also reparenting yourself. As you are doing things for your kids that you wish were done for you, you are also healing a part of you that has always been longing for whatever that you wanted to be done for you. So take the time to journal, take the time to do meditation and meet your inner child. And when you're doing this for the first time, it might be uncomfortable. For me, when I did my first inner child meditation, I cried so much, because I could not believe how many times I have abandoned myself just because I wanted to be loved. I could not believe how much I chose other people instead of choosing myself, and at the end of the day those people ended up betraying me anyway. So you need to reassure your inner child that you are here, that you love your younger self, and that you sending love and you appreciate everything that your younger child has done for you, because that version of you was so strong, that version of you was so courageous, that version of you dreamed so big. So just spend some time with your inner child sometimes and finding out what do they want, what do they need, how can you show up for them. Maybe have solo days with yourself where you do things that you feel like your 14-year-old version of yourself would have loved this, right? So get to know yourself, get to know your inner child, and do things that will heal that version of yourself, right? And then another one is you need to do esteemable acts. What do I mean by this? Ask yourself, what is something that I can do that I know that if I do this one, it will make me feel so proud of myself? And then do more of those things. What I love doing is every night I just look back at my day and then I just write about what has happened in that day. What have I been aware of? What is something that I feel like I still need growth in? This is the moment where you can also find things during the day that you can be proud of. If you feel like this is too much for you, you can just do this maybe weekly and just write something that you're so proud of that you have done for that week. And this does not need to be something as big as jumping off a plane. It can be as simple as just saying that today I did not feel like going to work, but I woke up and I went there and I was productive, even though I was not feeling like it. If you are in a depression state, you can even say that I'm so proud of myself that I was able to wake up, make my bed, take a shower, open the curtains, and maybe journal, or maybe pray, or maybe do meditation or breath work. Anything that you do that you feel like is proud is anything that you do that you feel like is making you proud, anything that you do that you feel like is making you feel proud and is making you feel like you are doing something amazing for your future self or for your past self, be proud of that. And sometimes you might make mistakes and you feel like you know that in this area you should have done this, but you did a different thing. So being aware is also something that you can be proud of. So look at that and say, I am so proud of me that in that moment I did not make this decision. I did not make this decision because maybe I was not ready as yet, but I am aware to see that, okay, this is something that I should have done in this moment. So being aware is also the first step in healing. So when you see that your awareness is growing, be proud of that. And the more you do that, the more your self-esteem will grow. Okay? And then now let's go to how to stop self-doubt. Right? First of all, you need to understand that self-doubt is totally normal. As human beings, we doubt all the time, and that is okay. So normalize that it is okay to doubt sometimes. It does not mean that you don't have faith anymore. It just means that maybe it's a bit scary for you. Just allow yourself to remember that you are willing to have faith 100%. So if you're doubting, it is okay, as long as you know that I am willing to trust more. I am willing to have more faith in myself, right? The second thing that you need to do is you need to separate fear from the fact, right? Sometimes when we fear something, we feel like if I do this, this is what is going to happen. So have a note or a book where you keep the things that you have feared before, that you have overcome. And this will remind you that your fears are not always logical. They're just trying to keep you safe. So every time you take a courageous act and do something and it turns out amazing, that is going to remind you to keep going in the future. It will remind you that it is okay to make mistakes. It will remind you that you will find so much joy behind the fear, and that you'll be so proud of yourself after trying something that you feel like is courageous for you. So write down a list of all the courageous things that you've done before that you have feared and now you no longer fear. And that will remind you every time you face a new fear that you have done way better than this. You have done amazing things and that you've got this and you have a track record, right? And then the other point is you need to borrow the courage from your role model. This is something that I always did, especially when I started my healing journey, is every time I'm scared of doing something, I would ask myself, if this person was facing the same problem, what would they do? How would they handle this? And I'd find that my role model in my head is more courageous, is more confident, is more outgoing, and they're more fearless. So they would try the thing that I feel like I cannot do. So borrow the courage from someone that you look up to and say, okay, if I was this person, this is what I would do. If I was this person, this is how I would deal with this. Or just borrow from your higher version of you or your better version of yourself and say, okay, if I was the kind of a person that I'd love to be, or the kind of person I aspire to be, or like my best self, then how would I deal with this? And you'll see that your better self or your best self is so courageous compared to you. They're so fearless, they're so brave, and they don't really care about negativity. They're just going out there and facing their fears and chasing their goals. So ask yourself, if this were to be done by my best version, what would they do? How would they deal with this? And you'll say that you have that strength within you. You're just fearful for nothing. And also understand that fear is trying to keep you safe, and that is fine. But there are moments where you need to remind your fear that I am safe here. Public speaking, for example, is not going to kill me. Trying this is not going to kill me. I am going to be okay. I understand that you want to keep me safe, and thank you for that fear, but I've got this, right? And then the last one is you need to detach from perfection, right? You do this by trying things that scare you, by allowing yourself to be a beginner. The more you do this, the more you allow yourself to try things that you've never done before, the more you realize that you don't need to be perfect. You don't need to do things 100% perfectly. It's okay to be a beginner. It is okay to make mistakes. It is okay to mess up. So allow yourself to mess up sometimes. Allow yourself to let things be and not take so much control of everything that is happening around you. Learn to trust the process and know that everything is going to be okay. And also, I want you to remember that building your self-esteem and overcoming self-doubt is a process, a long one. It's not going to take you one day to get over it. So in those moments where you fall short, in those moments where you know that, okay, I should have done better in this area, you need to be kind to yourself. You need to be compassionate towards yourself and know that you are doing the best you can. Because I hope you are. I believe you are doing the best. So trust that and know that the more you put in the reps in terms of doing the best for yourself, in terms of building your self-esteem, the more you put in the reps, the more you say yes to yourself instead of abandoning yourself just because you want a validation from other people, the more you try new things that scare you, the more you will build those reps, the more you'll build that evidence that you are the girl you think you are. Right? I hope this helps. Thank you so much for your time and your energy. I will see you next time. I love you. Bye.